Good morning and welcome, dear all participants, to the second day of 5 days capacity enhancement training workshop on the topic which is so relevant in today's time, that is role of teachers in fostering entrepreneur skills in students for New India. Yesterday, we had an excellent inaugural session wherein Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor P.B. Sharma has set the tone for this important skill development and entrepreneur agenda in the right direction. Professor Sharma has also highlighted that our efforts should be towards creating millions of jobs through skill development and emphasize the role of teachers towards this mission by creating enterprising minds. Dr. Victoria, Dr. Vikas Madhukar, Professor Smita Patnaik gave lots of innovative thoughts and the strategies for new teaching methodology. Guest of honor, Mr. Manish Prabhat, IFS Ambassador of India to Uzbekistan, highlighted that the right kind of resource person is one of the key area in higher education. Chief Guest Shri Rajesh Agarwal, IAS Secretary Minister of Skill Development Entrepreneur, Government of India, Delhi, gave mantra for success, that is learning to learn and learning to do. It was altogether gainful learning experience from all our eminent distinguished speakers. Today we have great renowned speaker with us, respected Dr. Shriparna B. Baruhu, Head Center for Industrial Extension and Consultancy, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, Assam, who would be taking a session on skills and attitude towards entrepreneurship required by teachers. The second session will be by respected Dr. Sachin Modgil, professor at International Management Institute, Kolkata, on the topic entrepreneurship teaching methods and models. Now we are starting with our first session of the day. We are very delighted and pleased to have with us today respected Dr. Siparna B. Baru, Head Center for Industrial Extension and Consultancy, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, Assam. Dr. Suparna is a development professional with 33 years of work experience in management education and in small and medium enterprise development. Dr. Baruha is currently associate with the Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship as Head Center for Industry Extension. During her career span of more than 30 years, apart from playing a pioneering role in promoting management education in NE India, during her initial 10 years of working with the Assam Institute of Management, her involvement in the last 2 decades has been on entrepreneurship and livelihood promotion. Dr. Barua has extensive experience in action research and projects related to the development of livelihood clusters, specifically in all the 8 states of northeastern region of India. She took up cluster development on a mission mode and impact created through various need-based interventions resulted in development of sustainable development models for the region. For facilitating growth of startups, Dr. Baruha played an important role in initiating the first Northeast Regional Entrepreneurship and Startup Summit. She has also recently completed a study on the startup ecosystem of Northeastern region, which is likely to impact policy perspective for promoting entrepreneurship in the region. Dr. Baruha is also recipient of many awards, including Bharat Vikas Award for her contribution to the livelihood sector, Junior Chambers International Award for her contribution to the education sector, and Lifetime Achievement Award for her contribution in the field of entrepreneurship development and livelihood from National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development. May I have a pleasure of inviting Dr. Shriparna B. Baru to kindly address the participants on the topic skills and attitude towards entrepreneurship required by teachers. We are very fortunate and happy, ma'am, to have you with us today. And thank you for your kind acceptance to give the talk today on the very important topic, that is skill and attitude towards entrepreneurship required by the teachers. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Amity University, for inviting me, and definitely glad to be a part of a very noble initiative of creating, bringing in entrepreneurship in the academia, which is very much required today. And also glad that we have so many participants from various parts of India. I think pandemic has made this even more
across India also, ma'am.
Across India, yeah, I know. So it has made it possible, something which we were never exploring so much earlier, right? So that becomes a very good thing for all of us to come and meet in a virtual platform. So thank you so much. And also would like to congratulate Amity University for taking up an initiative like this, because if we look at the new education policy, I think this will be the major focus now, right? This will be the major focus, and whoever is the early entry and whoever makes the mark initially will be the role model for others to follow. So that way also, this is very important. When we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about building youth, it is the teachers through which everything is going to happen, the environment. And when we talk about the environment, it is the teacher who plays a very, very important role at whichever stage student is in. And so the topic which has been given to me.
I just wanted to, ma'am, tell you one thing, that we are talking so much about entrepreneurship every day on daily basis. But the fact is that we as a teachers are not aware much about entrepreneurship and how to inculcate those thoughts among our youth, among our students. So that is the problem which as a we are facing. So that was the thought behind.
Right. So, today I thought, let me talk a little bit also about the background, why this is becoming so important and how we can do it, and what sort of the topic also which I was looking at it again is that skill and attitude towards entrepreneurship is also important, should not be taken up as one subject, etc., etc. So let me just I have divided the session in such a way that we first talk about the background, why this is important, and then the question comes as to how we go about it, right? So I'll just share the screen. I've just made a small PPT for this, and then we will also, in between, anyone wants to raise a hand, you can always stop me, and let's have it as interactive as possible within that 1 hour time that we have with us. So let me start by sharing this slide.
Dear participants, you can keep posting your questions on the QA box, which is there.
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. So is my presentation visible?
Yes, it's visible, ma'am. But if you can
visible?
make it a little more like elaborative, expand your PPT, ma'am, if possible.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that. Somehow.
Punita, are you there? Can you help ma'am how she can expand her PowerPoint presentation?
I know. Normally I keep doing it, but today somehow this is not happening.
Okay.
Ma'am, I think you have opened in the PDF form. No?
Okay. No, even in the PDF form it opens.
So you press Control L. Control plus L.
Let me just try it back again.
Yeah.
No, it's becoming, same thing is happening.
Anyway, ma'am,
just 1 minute. You can see it, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me now. Okay. Just one more moment.
Dr. Baroya, we can see your presentation. You can start.
I think we will start because
ma'am.
I will be losing out on time otherwise, right? The session that we have is skills and attitude towards entrepreneurship required by teachers. As I was mentioning, we will start by first discussing, just a moment, why this is not moving. So let me start by giving the background first. We all know with certain things that we are all aware of. For example, India's huge population. This is just a bad context setting as to why the attitude which teachers need to have. Now, we always say that we are India's huge population that was once perceived as an albatross has emerged as the biggest asset today. We all know that we are talking about the demographic dividend. We say that population has been one of the biggest boon for us. But this rich human capital that we have has to be empowered and cultivated properly. And if we look into the history, we will find that India has been a land of entrepreneurs. But post-independence, with government taking control, business was looked at with suspicion and profit became a bad word. For a long time, till before the 1990s, profit was not looked at with, was often looked at with a little suspicion, except for certain parts of the country. And then it was in the year 1991, which became a turning point. And the government started getting more entrepreneur friendly. Now, India, if you look at 2027, India will be adding 10 crore people into the working age by 2027, which will be 5 times the population of Australia. Now, if that is happening, this has to be accommodated by 100 million jobs. And the median age, there's certain typing errors. Median age is today 27.6 years, 20.6. So we are looking at population as a big asset. We are saying that how many jobs are going to be created, needs to be created. So basically, there are opportunities, and it is true entrepreneurs that we need to create job. Who will create job? So basically, India needs entrepreneurs for 2 reasons. One is to capitalize on opportunities, and second is to create wealth and new jobs. Again, I'm giving another thing that next 10 years, 100 to 130 million Indian citizens will be searching for jobs. 80 to 10 million will be looking for their first job. So you can imagine, we look at the background and, we are churning up students. Are we creating employable students? Are the students whom we are grooming, are they getting a job? Now, these are the things which we all as teachers, we need to keep in mind. And this does not include the disguised unemployment over 50% among the 80 to 10 million, 100 million employed in rural areas. Now, let me also talk here that, as teachers, we all earnestness we teach, but end of the day, when we find that after getting a degree, a diploma, or a post-graduation, when we find that our students are not getting a job, how does it feel? Do we get a satisfaction out of it? What do we do with all the students who are coming out every year? Is there a way out? Now, these are questions we need to ask ourselves. 1 second. Now, there are basically 2 options in the job market. Either you get a government job or you get a job in the private sector. If you look at the government sector, there is absolutely no point looking into the government sector. There'll be very few people who can get into. Number one, government is also organization like ours, which are sort of autonomous organizations, etc. There is almost no recruitment happening. Most of the people are on contract. So government job is not a very easy. We know the stories of, even for helper post, you have postgraduates, doctorates applying for a government help. That's the mindset that we have. Government job are really, really scarce. The second option is to get into a private sector. The private sector does create a lot of jobs, but to get into a private sector, you need to be employable, and you need to have certain set of skills through which you can survive in a private sector. Set of skills like expected to work like an entrepreneur, which is, and no longer expected to just manage like a manager. You need to be a manager with who has an entrepreneurial mindset. A person has to be problem solving to serve or to work in the private sector, has to have strong communication skills, and also risk-taking skills. Now, these are the set of skills. There are more, but then these are the basic set of skills which are required for a person to cope, survive, and sort of grow in a private sector. Now, if you look at what is required to be an entrepreneur, the same set of skills are actually required to be an entrepreneur. So, when there is also a third option, that you work in a government job, you start or work in a private sector, or to also become an entrepreneur, are we also not responsible as teachers to also show them this path, that there is also the third option available, which is, can we look at becoming an entrepreneur also, where not only do I create employment for myself, but I also create jobs for others. I create jobs for others. So number one, the first realization we need to have, that it is not something, very, very unique, which is required to become an entrepreneur. It is more a sort of certain set of skill sets, the mindset which is required. And if we are today looking at creating students with this mindset, then what is our role as teachers? Because we can create enterprising, I would say, let me use an even lesser word, that we need to create more enterprising students. Because if a person is enterprising, then he or she always gets an option, will always find a way out to survive, to do something in life. So if those are the set of skills which are required, then can we look at that as, is that not our role? Now, the second thing which comes in, if I want to groom students to be enterprising, as a teacher, what will be my role? Do I also not need to be enterprising? The teacher also needs to be an enterprising teacher. So number one, which I would say, is an enterprising teacher. Now here, let us very quickly look at who is an entrepreneur. If you look at definition per se, there we will find hundreds of definitions of who an entrepreneur is. But if we look at a very simple definition, an entrepreneur is a person which, it's all inclusive of defining who an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is a person who mobilizes resources, takes a risk, innovates, and in the process, he or she gains and the society also gains. Now, if you look at this definition of entrepreneur, who an entrepreneur is, I'm repeating it, is a person who mobilizes resources, takes a risk, innovates, and in the process, he or she gains and the society also gains. Here, the definition per se doesn't talk anywhere about money. So it's an orientation actually. With a person, as teachers, we need to groom our role, and it has to be that we groom youth of tomorrow with who have this set of who has a quality, who has this mindset in terms of having the capacity to take a risk, who's not so much looking only at has to be a risk taker, who thinks out of box, and mobilizes resources, whatever resources he or she has. So that way, as per the definition, anyone can be clubbed as an entrepreneur. A doctor can be an enterprising doctor, a lawyer can be an enterprising lawyer, and a teacher can be an enterprising teacher. So if we look at the skill sets and the attitude, it is basically a teacher needs to be an enterprising teacher to basically bring up students with these set of qualities. I'm sure many of you who are attending today, many of you are already very enterprising. When we talk about the qualities now, I'm sure you will be able to identify yourself in terms of you're already doing, but maybe you've never thought about yourself as in terms of an enterprising or an entrepreneur. We also need to remember that entrepreneurship and innovation has always played a very important role in history. The Industrial Revolution, the rise of US to the preeminent state, then recovery of Germany post-World War and with Israel, all driven by entrepreneurship and innovation. If we look at, we look at the definition per se of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is not about ideas, it is about making ideas happen.
She's muted. Ma'am, you're muted.
Dr. Suparna?
Okay, I don't know how that happened. Yeah.
You can start your PPT again, ma'am.
Yeah. Is it visible? In between, I think there was a connection problem.
Yeah, no, it is not visible. Your PPT is not visible.
It's not visible. Let me again, then I'll have to again share the slide. Let me just go back to that. Let me just go back to it again. Is it visible? No, no?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me just go back to it again. I'll just go back to it again. So,
Ma'am, if possible, you can just mail your PPT to us and we will do the needful.
okay, let me just try once.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just a moment, I'm just trying it once more. Okay. Is it now visible? Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible.
It's visible, right? So, so we were talking about entrepreneurship innovation, how important it has played in history. It's about, so entrepreneurship is not about ideas, it's basically making ideas happen. So as teachers, what do we need to do? Now, if we have to create enterprising students, we basically have to build that mindset in a student that, it's not just, making things happen is something, a mindset thing which has to be inculcated in the students. We have to, somehow for giving excitement, challenges is something very important. Challenges bring the adrenaline and the excitement. To grow, you need to have the right attitude of acceptance and learning. And magic happens when the vision is shared. Now, these are things, how do we bring in the student? Often, the way I am functioning as a teacher, that itself has a big influence, knowingly, unknowingly, in the students. So am I looking at my job? If we look at the role of teachers, then I have to see whether I am looking at that as a so am I looking at that as a so that becomes extremely important. So role of teachers, if we say we have to groom the youth. When we are grooming youth, what are the key components which are required? Accept constructive criticism. Most of the time what happens is when we have to cope in life, many of us will be knowing this. The most important thing for a youth or a student or a person to be successful in life is not how intelligent or how much his IQ is. Most important thing is how much strong his EQ is, his emotional quotient is. So while as a student, we keep on saying that, can I get the marks? I keep on working, I get marks, etc. That is important. But along with that, do I have these qualities in me or not? Accepting constructive criticism, request for feedback, getting your hands dirty, which we are talking about the risk-taking thing. Are we ready to dirty our hands? Only when we try, only then we need not be scared to fail, but that ability to make your hands dirty, to take a risk and make your hands dirty is extremely important. The more a person takes up risk, the more a person takes up challenges, the more that person realizes at the end that he has no fear. Talk out differences. There'll be a lot of people who will say that, this is not possible. There'll be naysayers letting you down. But do we have that confidence? Then don't focus on money. The focus has to be on solving a problem. To a large extent, I think with the new education policy, that will become almost a thing that, the design thinking approach has to be there. The shortage today is not of money. The shortage today is of ideas. So are we grooming students who are focusing on solving a problem? Be passionate about what you do and be reasonable. So, number one, if we have to, again, I'm repeating the same thing, if we have to groom youths with these type of qualities or these type of important characteristics, what happens is, as a teacher, how do I do that? Am I also practicing that? Am I also practicing that? So I need to question myself on that. And, when I was talking about these qualities, I'm sure if you want to write in your chat box, you can write. I'm sure many of them, we keep on doing that. Don't we do that? I'm sure many of us do that. But the only thing we have not been, we need to, if we are doing that, we need to realize how important it is for us to do that. And so as teachers, we need to have that mindset that, I also need to innovate. I also need to keep on doing new things. I also need to have, even though I'm teaching, am I bringing in something new every time to the table? Am I getting very passionate about the subject that I teach? Whoever, we will never forget some people in our lives. Number one, of course, apart from your own family, are what the teachers have told us. Even today, if we all look at our own life and we look at, we'll always remember this teacher had, told me something good at that point of time in my life. And unknowingly, that has played a very, for me as a teacher, I may not realize that, how important it is for the student to have listen to what I have said. But, the impact is really large. So it is important, the role when we are teaching is that, are we attempting to make some pedagogical innovation? Innovation, pedagogy to support innovations? Are we doing a blended teaching? Are we trying to, whichever subject, it could be any subject. And entrepreneurship as a subject is actually, it is as a proper subject, if you find, you will find that it draws from all other subjects. It'll draw a little bit from management, it draws something from psychology, it draws something from accounts, it draws a lot from finance, HR. So basically entrepreneurship draws upon from all the subjects, many of the subjects. So problem solving pedagogy is to respond to change. So are we, doing that? Because the seed which we plant in the student becomes important. Sometimes our role is to be open to that, bring in concepts like, can we have something in the, these will be a part of the system only. So after some, maybe once that innovation paper comes in from the CBSE, etc., are we bringing in concepts like student equity share, teacher equity share, bringing in concepts like IPR? And we all need to remember that technology is the enabler today. We look at the type of startups which are coming in. Are we at least abreast about? I think Dr. Sanjana, which initially commented that every day we hear about some startups. We hear earlier, we used to say that only people with money or had a big loan, they have become entrepreneurs, or a father is a big entrepreneur, so definitely the son takes up. Today we find that people with no money, with no background of substantial money, but becoming a millionaire, billionaire within a very short time. There are companies which are not even making profit, but they are termed as unicorns, because the idea is that they can scale up. Now, these are things in the radar, in our newspaper, etc. These are being highlighted every other day. So maybe as teachers, we need to understand concepts like this, whichever subject they come from. Two issues. Number one is, can I be an enterprising teacher? Can I find out certain things which are important for students, the qualities which are important for students? Teachers equity share, patenting, technology as an innovator. Then we have innovation clubs. Can we facilitate entrepreneurship career development cell? We need to be open to things like this. Let us look at this something very interesting. We know that digitization, we started the session by saying that because of the digital world that we are in, we are all today from different parts of the country, and yet we are all aligned together. Now, digitization has disrupted every industry. Now, let us look at these, game changers, which is Uber, the largest taxi company, owns no vehicle. Facebook, the world's most popular digital media owner, owns no, it has to be owns actually, owns no content. Alibaba, the world's largest retailer, has no inventory. Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, owns no real estate. So look at the disruptions happening everywhere. So to be a part of the entrepreneurial journey, it's most important that student is able to look at problem solving, is able to think out of box. So these are things which are extremely important. We have to understand that life lessons, if you look at life lessons for entrepreneurs, a clear conscience is the softest pillow in the world. Learning by example is the most powerful advice you can give to anybody. And the teacher himself or herself can be an example. Then the attitude, how we groom students to look at money. Entrepreneurship is not making money by any means. Money will be the outcome of your effort, but giving away is also a very important thing. Because again, I'm repeating the definition of entrepreneur, who an entrepreneur is. The last line says that, again, I'm repeating it, entrepreneur is a person who mobilizes resources, takes a risk, innovates, and in the process, he or she gains, and the society also gains. The last line, society also gains, is very important. And when we are trying to groom entrepreneurs, that, looking at making money by any means is not, is not supposed to be considered as something great. Money will be an outcome of the effort. As teachers, we also need to remember the valuable advice can come from unexpected source, and chance events can sometimes open new doors. For that, the teacher needs to be very, very open. The other day, if I may talk about some 1 or 2 experiences, the other day there was this engineer girl who has started a a platform for giving plumbing and other solutions, like a local urban company. Now she's doing very successfully in this part of the country. And when I asked her, how did you think about doing this? She said that long back you had come to, she's an engineering graduate. Long back you had come to our institute and you were giving some lecture on entrepreneurship. It's then that I thought that maybe some entrepreneurship is also something that I can take up. Immediately the person may not become an entrepreneur, but with time that seed might get planted and that person might look at becoming an entrepreneur. The biggest impediment to growth is in our minds and not in the world outside. And the only constant in this world is change. So, as number one, I, as a teacher, need to believe that. And when I start believing that, then I start, then it's only then I can impact or influence others. Is there anything you want to ask before I proceed further? Anything that you would like to ask? Any in between? See, if it was a physical class, we could have exchanged. I'm sure there would have been a lot of questions, etc. But nevertheless, I might be going at a little faster pace also. Is there anything you would like to ask? Anyone would like to react, ask? No? Okay. Now let us look at some of the sectors, So number one is that as teachers, we need to be quite aware of what is happening in the field of entrepreneurship. That is number one. And number two is, in our own ways, can we start looking at our subject that I teach from an entrepreneurial perspective. I'll come to that later. But let us hear. So basically, I would like to put the PPT here on end, and then I will, we can discuss many other things. Entrepreneurship is basically Gita at work. The most remembered sloka from Gita is to follow karma. The entrepreneur is a walking example of wisdom. An entrepreneur practices karma. An entrepreneur has few guarantees for success, yet he or she moves undeterred and creates a world of difference, literally and otherwise. So basically, we have to have that philosophy of Gita imbibed in the students. Only then we can, take it forward. Now, let me stop for some time on the slide and let us go back to a few other things that, so how do we sort of then go ahead in terms of what sort of an attitude or a thing that we need to have when we are looking at entrepreneurship? We know the qualities which are required in an entrepreneur. He has to be a risk taker. He has to be a problem solver. He or she has to be innovative, disruptive, understand the requirement for technology, etc. So it's basically the mind of the student that we have to influence. Role of the teacher when we look at entrepreneurship is influencing the mind of the student. Now, when we say mind of the student, how do we influence the mind? I'm teaching a particular subject. I might be a teacher in history. I may be a teacher in, literature, English, or whatever literature. So how do I, in my subject, find relevance to entrepreneurship? Can we look at some characters? Can we look at some characters who in your I'm looking at. So can we look at some characters in my from my subject who have been very enterprising, and ask the student to do more research or study more about that? As okay, now I get into the questions. As teachers, what are the roles? It's not clear. Our role, we don't have, unless and until there is a answer this question. As teachers, what are our roles? Now, our role would be dependent on how focused the institution you are working in focuses on entrepreneurship. That is number one. Because when we say teaching entrepreneurship is not so easy. So you will, at the most, what I'm trying to tell you is, in your subject, when you're teaching the subject, can you identify some characters in your subject, something from your subject through which you can teach the student to be more enterprising? That can be the role. Or depending, if you are part of the entrepreneurship cell that you have in the college, then you can take, your role will be different. Then if you have a paper on entrepreneurship, then your role will be different. So it cannot be a general role which we can say that all teachers can have this role. So basically understanding and putting that, attempting to change the mindset of the student can be the biggest role. I hope I'm clear. Even if it's not clear, please don't hesitate to. Then the next question which I have, you can please revert back also. What was the social challenge for entrepreneur? Because society is divided, caste. I think caste, gender, religion should not come in here. Because when we talk about an entrepreneur is a person who is actually doesn't start a business, but starts thinking and working like an entrepreneur. Whichever field that person is working, suppose I am a teacher. If I'm a teacher, then what I will do is, I will find out new ways of teaching. I will find out some meaning in, changing the mindset. I'll start giving assignments through which the student is bound to think differently. Supposing I'm a teacher of, economics, then I will, whatever assignment I'm giving, then I will try to look at it, that can that person ideate better? Can that person look at the resources? Can that person look at, from that resource, what business can come in? If I am a teacher in, from chemistry or biotechnology or whatever, any other science subject, then can I look at start giving assignments, not only from the research perspective, but also from the perspective, can the research be translated into, has a value in commercialization? This is one thing that we have found. A lot of research, very good research takes place in many of the institutions, but research remains at the laboratory only. Are we looking at commercialization? There was a small pitching session recently, and then students came up with very good research projects, which have, and when we looked at from the commercial angle, they said, no, we were only looking at from the research angle. And here, the academia, industry interface is very important. So as teachers, another role would be, are we abreast of what is industry? I remember I did give this example everywhere. We were, once we had taken a delegation from Northeast of entrepreneurs to China. We were in Shanghai industrial area, where the entrepreneurs were visiting different industrial units. And then suddenly we found that the best university in China, the Nanjing University in China, it had a campus in the university itself, in the industrial area itself. At that time, I'm talking about 10, 12 years back. This is something we could never think. So reason was that whatever research they do, and the research that they're doing is also based on what industry needs. Then that orientation is already happening. So even students teachers getting connected to industry becomes very, that is another role. How then? So another question which is how to keep yourself motivated in entrepreneurship. It's a challenge which keeps you motivated. It's the new things which you're doing which keeps you motivated. So it is always that, the zeal to do more, the zeal to make a difference. That itself will be the biggest driver. Otherwise, what motivates us? Is it the promotion? Is it, is it the satisfaction? Yes, promotion and other things, career is important, but sometimes your career also doesn't move. We always have to remember there will be politics, there will be some struggles in our own journey, but is that a reason enough to be totally demotivated? Can we find more meaningful things? The more meaning you find in whatever you are doing, you are continuously motivated. And there is also a change. If you make students change, that itself will be very motivating. I'm sure many of you must be doing that, and you must be feeling that, adrenaline rush as a teacher. What happens? Someone gets a good job. Don't you feel happy? Someone comes back to you saying that this is something which you told me. Are these not enough reasons for us? So, if I'm an enterprising person, I'll find 100 reasons why I'll continue to be motivated. So motivation is something very internal, and we have to have the capacity to continuously self-motivate ourselves, right?
And there is one question from Roshan Arya that how can a culture of entrepreneurship be developed, especially among women? So is there any different strategies?
Socioeconomic?
Especially among women. How
Which
can
one?
a culture of entrepreneurship be developed, especially among women?
See, women, I strongly feel that, women and men should not be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Right? So, but then there are certain things giving more importance to confidence building, a more support in terms of counseling, mentoring, etc. That's what is required. And also basically the confidence building and aspiration, building up this aspiration in the women. Because what I have seen from my experience is that women often are very satisfied with whatever little they get. If they're earning something, I'm married, so it's like a boon that I'm earning something. But to aspire, well, who's stopping that woman from aspiring? So aspiration backed by confidence is something which is required. Otherwise, the male and female entrepreneurs are different. And of course, depending on the segment for which you're doing, at the bottom of the pyramid. And also another thing for women, I feel is very important for all of us is that there's a lot of stereotyping as far as women entrepreneurs are concerned. They're always mostly, cluttered around certain sectors. It'll be handloom sector, handicraft sector, then beauty sector. There's nothing wrong in going in, and food processing when we saw they'll be doing mostly pickle, jam, processing. There's nothing wrong in that. But we also need to encourage more and more girls, women to come into use technology. So doesn't necessarily, the more we are trying to differentiate male and female, the more this, stereotyping will continue.
Sure.
Right.
One more question, ma'am. This is question by Dr. Rajesh Bol. He said, he's asking that, madam, by which way teachers should develop attitude towards entrepreneurship in our students?
So again, I would like to give depending on how much time you can give for entrepreneurship as a teacher. So if your role is also, if as a teacher, you are also involved in the entrepreneurship promotion in your institution, then it's a different approach that you will have to take. Suppose as a teacher, you are not involved as in entrepreneurship promotion, but generally when I was saying as a subject, how do I bring that entrepreneurial element in the subject that I'm teaching? So in that way, giving examples, talking about options, opening the doors as to what can happen. Basically, an idea starts from trying to solve a problem. So what problems? So you're basically discussing a lot of problems which are there in the locality, discussing problems which are there, and how we can solve is the way we start. When you're trying to solve a problem, you're basically coming up with a business idea. Because everywhere, if you find any startup which is happening, it starts with a basic thing that you want to solve a problem. Nowadays, we have all these apps, etc. every other day coming up, and saying that tomorrow you want to buy a car, used car, for example, pandemic, post-pandemic, immediately after pandemic, people who were using public transport, they were scared to use public transport. So they said many of them were, so the need for a second-hand car rose. So there are a lot of platforms selling only second-hand cars now. You don't even need to. So people have inconvenience. Today we have a thing about quick commerce. So in the metros, they're saying that even that, whatever Swiggy, etc. takes time. So can we have a quick commerce giving delivery within 10 minutes? Now there was a problem which was found and the solution has been come up with a startup idea. Right?
One more question is from Namita Kapoor. That, ma'am, you are saying that self-motivation rewards are most important. Then what is the role of social norms in women entrepreneur intention?
Can you just elaborate on this? What is the role of social norms? Intention meaning?
Namita, are you there? Can you elaborate your question?
Yeah, can you just elaborate, or maybe you can just switch on your mic and...
Puneet, is it possible that Namita can say her question?
Because whatever little I have understood, ma'am, you are saying the self-motivation words are most important, right? And then what is the role of social norms in women entrepreneurial intention? Okay, I think intention you wanted to mean. Okay, so social norms do play a role, if I've understood you correctly. That are they inhibiting factors for a woman to start, if that is what you're meaning? Namita, are you there? Have I got you right?
Namita, please write yes or no on the chat box or maybe on the QA session box.
Okay. So anyway, okay, so I think that social norms will be there, social norms in terms of even the credit perspective. If you look at it, bankers do not take women who go to ask for credit seriously because, this has been the
I think there is some technical glitch, dear participants. Soon she will be there. Mr. Puneet, what has happened? Are you there, Mr. Puneet?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, क्या हुआ पुनीत? क्या टेक्निकल
वो
ग्लिच है कुछ?
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गई मैम।
हम्म,
हो सकता है नेटवर्क का इशू मैम का।
ओके, I will just try to call her if she is there. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, please do that, ma'am. We are waiting. Yeah. Yeah, ma'am is joining soon. Our next speaker is also with us, and within, I think, 5 minutes, we can start our next session by Mr. Sachin Modgil. If Dr. If Dr. Supriya Basu is not able to connect, then we will switch to our next speaker. Thank you, dear participants. Your questions are very effective questions, which you are posting on the QA session and on the chat box. Kindly keep posting your questions here on the chat box for all the sessions. I think she is unable to join, and we have with us our next speaker. So thank you. Uh, Thank you, Dr. Suparna, for your wonderful presentation and for your inspiring and motivating words, and also emphasizing on entrepreneurship is not about an idea. It is about making ideas happen and also highlighting life lessons for entrepreneurship. Ma'am is again here. She has connected again. So, ma'am,
Yeah,
anything you want to say in the last,
yeah.
ma'am, please?
Okay, I think the net has been, the internet connectivity has been creating havoc today, off and on. Yeah. So if there's anything else I would like to, I mean, that is it. I mean, it's very difficult at the moment to say what can be the role of a teacher. So it's very internalizing it, number one, that there is a need for creating entrepreneurs is number one realization. Number two, looking at your subject very carefully and seeing that, how through my subject, I can sort of create that awareness into or interest in the student through whatever I'm teaching. Number three is that being abreast about what is happening today as far as in the domain of entrepreneurship, which is happening. Looking at it, being aware about that, because only it's changing so much. Every other day it is changing, the trends are changing, the sectors are coming in, and also keeping abreast as to which are the sectors which have potential. See, when we identify, last thing which I would like to, whenever we identify an opportunity, business opportunity, number one is we based on the resources available and the sectors which have a potential in the, in the, what are the sunrise sectors. Now, if you ask me today, what are the sunrise sectors, definitely agri and business is a sunrise sector. Depending on the location I come, whatever resources are available, bioresources are available. So bioresources is a big sector. Technology is always an enabler today. So IoT, artificial intelligence, these are things we, at least even if we don't we are not from that particular domain, we need to have an idea as to impact this technology can create in our lives. So that awareness we need to have as teachers. Then, continuously trying to build that mindset that I can make things happen is something which is my role as a teacher to contribute to my students' life, as that, can I bring in that attitude in them, like the way we bring up our children. As they say, whatever things you keep on hearing, listening, and you motivating them in terms of attitude building, realizing that it's ultimately the emotional quotient which is more important. Ability to bear stress is a very important component. Now that we know that learning it's a lifelong learning, even that creating.
I think again there is some technical glitch at her part. So anyway, let's move to the next, ma'am. Again, Hello.
Yeah. Anyway, I think I will not extend more. Anyway, I think I'll not extend more, because how many times you go in, I hope, whatever time there was no disruption, people could get what we wanted. It's a very big subject, and one has to, start taking it in their own stride and start learning and imbibing a lot of things around entrepreneurship. That's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation and for your inspiring words, showing us your beautiful presentation and ideas on that entrepreneurship is not about the ideas, it is all about making ideas happen. And the best slide which I liked is that when you highlighted that the life lessons for entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we are very delighted and pleased to have with us today Dr. Sachin Modgil from International Management Institute, Kolkata. Dr. Sachin Modgil is a fellow of National Institute of Industrial Engineering, Mumbai, in the area of supply chain and quality, and teaches operations management. His area of interest includes supply chain management, total quality management, operations and production management, lean management, operations and strategic control. He has total 10 years of experience and has concluded many MDPs and FDPs in the area of operations and supply chain management domain. He is involved in case studies and empirical research in the operations and supply chain domain. He has also developed few courses in entrepreneurship and published research papers in entrepreneur behavior. May I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Sachin Modgil to kindly take up his session on a very important topic for the teachers, entrepreneurship teaching models. We are very happy to have you today, Dr. Sachin. Thank you for your kind acceptance to take up this session today. Thank you so much. And over to you. Can you little enhance your PowerPoint presentation, Dr. Sachin?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do it. Yes. Yeah, is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you, Professor Sanjana Bij, for having me here at 5 days capacity enhancement training workshop on the role of teachers in fostering entrepreneurial skills for the students for New India. So I'm going to talk about the entrepreneurship teaching model. So for the next 1 hour, 50 minutes specifically. And let's have it very, you can say, the engaging session. And I'll have 3-4 activities so that I have even the roles for the panelists, those who are here, so that we'll have this session engaging. So this is going to be the agenda. And we are going to discuss different models, especially from the research perspective, also from the teaching perspective as well. So we are going to talk about these 3-4 models, and there are some common approaches also, because now teaching entrepreneurship is I can say it is not like other kind of teaching, right? So it is not a classroom like teaching, like you can teach maybe history or some other subjects. So now it has to be experiential, right? So if it has to be experiential, then we have to experience first, right? How to teach it. So now let me talk about first about the any idea. You can actually share your thoughts. Any idea which is the best institute in the world who provides or who offers or who produces most of the entrepreneurs? Any idea? Any of you can write it in the chat box. I'll be more than happy to see your answers.
Dear participants, kindly participate in this question. Kindly write the answers. Yes, Yogita has given the answer, China.
Yeah, so my question was to which institute, which college, which university? Yeah, these are the countries. I think you got me not right. My question is which institute in the world which is most famous for the entrepreneurship education or entrepreneurial education? Any idea? One of the successful college in providing the entrepreneurial education.
Mohammed
Harvard
has
is,
written HBS.
yeah,
Boris has written Harvard. Bhaskar has
yeah. I
written
think
Stanford
people
University.
are going in the right direction, but I think there is some common name is I do not know whether you people know or not, but Babson College is one of the most successful institute. Uh, yes, Harvard is obviously there, Stanford University is there, yes. So I think somebody has now Bhaskar
Bhaskar has written
Igave has written
Babson,
the
Farhan
name.
has written
Yeah.
Harvard, Yogita Potts.
Yes. So yeah. So now if you talk about their model, so now they have 3-4 models of developing the entrepreneurship quotient among the students, because now see, whenever we talk about the entrepreneurship, so entrepreneurship is nothing what until unless you practice it. It is not like other kind of teaching, right? So you deliver, you say something and student will listen, because it has to be practical, it has to be experiential. So now they have these 4 models. Let me explain you one by one. One is the starting the business. Okay. So when the student is there on the campus, they are encouraged to start their business and run that business for that particular at least 2 years, 3 years. And then they are actually starting from the business idea, taking it to the you can say different levels of the product development, service development, and then reaching out to the funding agencies, and then taking it to the market and so on. So all those processes have to be done on the campus. Okay. So let's say if all the students, let's say if 300 students, 400 students do that, and maybe let's say 10 startups, if they actually they are successful, I think then the job is done, right? So and somebody, I think last speaker has madam has mentioned that the success rate is not much high. Obviously that will not be high because aspirations are different, and to keep it, or you can say keep it to the expectations of the customer, that is different, right? So if I talk about the Babson College first approach or method, this is starting businesses. So students practice their entrepreneurship and generate the economic and social value, that what kind of products or what kind of services that they have to, you can say, bring it to the table, right? And then students understand the nature of the business in this process. As I mentioned, 2-3 years that they have to run their business, they have to run here and there for keeping their business running. And in the process, students develop and make use of the ERP systems, they also develop their own information systems. We actually teach them ERP, okay, okay, we should have the information system so that all the departments, all the you can say domains of an organization should combine or should integrate to run a successful business. But until unless students work upon it, what kind of elements, let's say procurement is not integrated to the marketing department, or if the production department is not integrated to the logistics department, then what will happen to the business, right? So until unless these people or the students do not work by themselves, they will not get an idea of business, that how does this information system is actually helpful for running my business, right? And students experience in this process social responsibility also of the business, and the philanthropy through the donation of their time and business profits to the charitable organization. So this business, whatever the profits that they are actually going to make in these 2 years or 3 years on the campus, they have to do it, that should be go to the charity. So that is also the social part they are covering up. So now this is one part. Let's go to the now the second part that what they are doing. Yes, second one is the serious games and simulations that they are actually doing. So now here we have the activity for us right from the beginning. Do not beg, borrow, and steal. I'm sure some of you may have heard about it. So now here I have the role also. Let me just share. I'm sure you can see this Excel sheet. Can you see the Excel sheet here?
No, we can't see.
Okay, just a minute. Yes, now I think you can see.
Yes.
Yes, so now here, I think all the panelists, I have just given the name of some role play that they'll be playing, and all the attendees.
Can this
all
be a little bit bigger because it's very small? We cannot see the.
Yeah, just a minute. Yes.
I think all the participants. Yes, now it's visible. Yes, great.
Yes. So now, now this activity is that all the attendees assume yourself that you have entered to the course of entrepreneurship, and this is your day one. Okay, this is your day one, and now all these panelists are the nearby market, okay, to that institute where you have taken the admission. So now you are asked to earn your living and generate the revenue without having anything, and you don't have to beg, you don't have to borrow, you don't have to steal. Okay, so that is the activity, and this is the role that each you can say each panelist is playing. So Sanjana Bijji is car showroom owner. Mr. KK Pandey is a tourist in the place, and Atul Thakurji is the bus station in charge there, and Uday Narayana Singh is the medical store owner, and Praveen Kumarji is the nearby mall owner. So now they have, let's say, if I give them, let's say, 1,000 rupees each, they have this much money to invest in. Okay, so everybody is having 1,000 rupees. So now, depending upon your pitch, that you go to the car showroom owner, for example, if I can actually sell your one car to customer, so will I be getting, let's say, 200 rupees or 300 rupees? If Sanjana Beji like your idea, then 200 rupees is yours. So now you can start pitching. So how to pitch is, you have to just pick a person, whether it is a tourist, whether it is a mall owner, whether it is a medical store owner. So if you can sell, let's say, few medicines, or if you can tie up with the nearby clinic and then get the benefit, or maybe 100 rupees or 200 rupees. So that is the activity. So let's spend 5-10 minutes here, and let's see who is going to be the winner. You can go to anybody, and every attendee is free to go. Let's see who can convert maximum deals and who can get maximum money. So I'm going to now track the chat box, and if my request to the panel members, these panel members, is if you are giving any money to anyone, so you can just message in the chat box so that I can note down the names. So can we start now? Have you understood? Is there any questions from the attendees?
Participants, I hope this activity is clear to all. If it is not clear, please mention in the chat box. If any doubt is there, please mention in the chat box.
So each panel member have 1,000 rupees. They can give you 100, 200, 300, depending upon their capability, their you can say their assessment of the job, okay, that you are going to perform. So you can pitch according to their, I have given their profiles, that these
Mr.
5
Rahim,
panel members.
Dr. Sachin, Mr. Rahim is saying that, and Dr. Bhaskar is saying that it is not clear. Kindly explain
Okay.
this activity again. Yeah.
So I'm explaining that all the attendees, I think I can see the attendees, there are 76 people in this room. You are the student of first year of an entrepreneur course, and now this is the first day of your college, and you have been, so now you have been given an activity where you have to go to the nearby market and you have to earn your living. Okay, you have to earn your living, and you don't have to beg, you don't have to borrow, you don't have to steal. These are the 3 things. Okay, so now each of these panel members, you can see my screen, Professor Sanjana Bij, Professor KK Pandey, Professor Atul Thakur, Professor Uday Narayana Singh, Professor Praveen Kumar. So they each have different roles, but they have limited money, 1,000 rupees, and they can, you can pitch them, because you know Professor Sanjana Bij, she is a car showroom owner. So you can pitch her that I can sell 1 car, and if you can give me 100 rupees or 200 rupees per car, that is what you can, and you can then go again to, if that deal is cracked, or if that deal is not cracked, then you go to the Professor KK Pandey, and who is a tourist. So you can probably ask that, if I can show you this place, this is the place, then can you help me with 50 rupees, and so on. So and then probably bus station in charge, so if you can do the mopping or something like that. So you have to develop your own ideas, that how you can make money, okay, from these profiles. I hope now the activity is clear. And when you will approach to the panel members in the chat box, they will reply 100 rupees granted, 200 rupees granted to so and so person. I hope the activity is clear.
Dear participants, this activity is only for you all. If you understood this activity, kindly act upon it. If you are not understood, please write it on the chat box.
Okay, so please start. I think most of you have understood. So now you can pitch your idea, and let's see who can be the first. To whom? And sometimes it happens, first ideas are get more recognition and more rewards. Come on.
Dear participants, kindly participate in this activity. If you are clear with it, please write your answers on the chat box. Arup Baru has written that I will approach the
So
tourist
I think
and offer him to provide a tour of 300 rupees. Okay.
Yeah, so now it has to Professor KK Pandey, if he's there, and if he like, then probably he can approve or grant. Okay, then I will note it down somewhere here.
Admiral Pandey, are you there? Dr. Umang has also written, I would prefer going to medical honor as due to COVID, he might require someone to deliver medicines at doorstep. I would charge per delivery. Great. Mhm. Medical honor.
Okay,
So this is
that's
for
great.
Professor Uday Narayanji. Yes. Yes, more answers. Participants, we are looking for more answers from you. Dr. Anuj, Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Afsir, Akriti, Akshay, Alok, kindly answer. Dr. Anil Tiwari, Ankita Dalal, Archana Divedi, please participate. Yes. Dr. Farah Qureshia has written, I will go to Professor Uday Narayan Singh as he is the owner of the medical shop and will tell him that I can sell it medicine by sitting at his shop. Okay, it is quite easy because for medicines customers are easily available. Yes, and someone has written that I will sell the medicines to government hospitals. Give me 500 rupees.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I think this is how we will not spend more time. So this is how when all the participants will respond and then we will calculate. So now normally what we do is when we take to the students to the activity, because now in the physical mode, it is very difficult to track that somebody should not borrow, somebody should not steal, somebody should not beg, right? So there is always a shadowing of the senior students, that whether this group is doing a fair job or not, and then at the end the money collected, because that money is coming to the and that money collected is actually calculated so that winner team is announced. So that actually brings up kind of that if you have nothing also, then also you can make a living, and also it develops some entrepreneurial mindset that how you can actually uh, 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 earn money, right? There are different ways to actually earn money. Okay,
Dr.
so
Surekha has also written that go to car showroom owner, showing that we can increase car sales with some promotional deals. And Dr. Rami has written, I will approach the mall owner and tell him that I will manage his social media account and to promote his mail to his mall since I'm expert in social media marketing. Great.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I think some of very I have not thought of about the social media
Yes.
account that you can handle that.
Great
But I
idea.
think that is a good idea that you can actually go. And I think mall owner was, I think Rahim was the first one who has approached to the mall owner. Others people were going to the medical shop, and people were approaching to the
But Dr. Sachin, nobody has approached car showroom owner.
no, I think somebody has car sales. I think
Okay,
yes,
yeah. Surekha has
Sureka
approached
only.
the go-to car showroom owner, showing
Yeah,
that we can increase car sales with some promotion deals. Great,
absolutely. So I
Surekha.
think this is how when the teams actually do work and they work in the different directions, and then you can work, do some job in the shop, and then earn, let's say, 10 rupees, 15 rupees, 20 rupees, and then this is small earnings actually help them to understand that earning is not much difficult. Okay, so that is the first step towards the earning part, or how to earning money mindset. That if you once develop that mindset, then I think it goes in the right. Okay, so let's not now go to the So you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, second model they follow is the serious games and simulations. So I have just demonstrated one with you now here. So this was the activity, but now we have done here because this is actually for physical mode, then it is much more interesting. And there are also some of the simulations, those are actually available on even on your Amazon. So this is the expansion packet open for the business. Actually, the name of the game is The Sims. That is also available. That actually how the organizational culture and how the student actually play that game, and how the money in relation to the business employee and the communities actually observed. So we have seen, and also now we have the Sims, which is actually I'm talking about. This is the one of the simulation game. Uh, this is available on the business, Amazon. So this approach actually is based on the institutional and resource based theories to provide the guidance for the students in creating a culture as a resource. So now I'm sure resource based view, if there are some management professionals or management professors, so I'm sure they must be aware about the resource based view. So there is a BRIO framework, right? So valuable, your resources should be valuable, rare, imitable, and non-substituable, right? So that is the BRIO framework on which this resource-based theory actually is based upon. And institutional theory actually depends upon three types of pressures. One is your coercive pressure, one is mimetic pressure, and one is the coercive, mimetic, and the another one I'm not getting. So there are three types of pressures. So let's say, yeah, another one is political one. So political one is actually is the pressure that actually you only work when some law is there. So now if we see in India, when we actually get the seat belt fastened, when there is a police wala, right? So that is a law pressure is there. Okay. Otherwise, whenever when we go to the bike, or when most of the people, I'm not talking about let's say 30% of the people, but 70% of the people, especially in India, how do they drive the bike without helmet, right? And if there is a fear that somebody will be there from the police, then they only wear the helmet. So that is there is a law, something is there to actually you can say if they will not wear the helmet, then there will be fine, right? So and mimetic pressure, if somebody is doing, if my colleague is doing in this that way, then I will also do that, right? So that is mimetic behavior, right? And coercive behavior is professional. Okay, so I need to follow some professionally behaved behavior. So that is these are the few learnings that actually student learn in this simulation. Now the third part, design based learning. So design based learning is actually the as I have told you right in the beginning, that entrepreneurship cannot be taught like other disciplines. Therefore, we should have the design based curriculum for the entrepreneurship, right? And for that, all these parameters, right from 1 to 9, observations, synthesis, searching and generating alternatives, critical thinking, feedback, value representation, creativity, problem solving, value creation. So now, if you see, now most of the courses on the entrepreneurship or business plan writing, right? So they actually tell you that how to develop the business. Okay. But nobody actually focus upon how to identify the opportunity, how to discover rather the opportunity, right? So that is most important. And teaching entrepreneurship through the design lens, because we are talking about the design based learning. So design lens can help the students or the entrepreneurs identify on the unique venture opportunities using a toolkit of observation, because observation is one of the important characteristic of identifying or discovering the opportunities of the market, and field work, right? And understanding the value creation across multiple stakeholder groups. Now, multiple stakeholder groups, if we talk about, there is a insurance companies, those who will ensure the life of your employees. There will be banking system who will credit the salary to your employees, right? Or who will fund your company, right? So that is another stakeholder. There is another stakeholder, let's say if you are developing a product for your company. So if you are developing a baby product, so not only the kids are the stakeholders, but the parents, because parents are spending for the kids products, right? So there are you have to create the value not only for the kids but also for the parents. What is there for the parents? So therefore, if we talk about the design based learning, so the identification and the exploitation of the opportunities is the core of the entrepreneurship. And as I was discussing, most of the courses focus on the opportunity evaluation and not on the art of discovery, right? So therefore, that is most important, that if art of the discovery one can actually understand, then I think half of the battle is won. So the fourth method of the Babson College practices for the entrepreneurship is the reflective practice. So reflective practice actually makes the students more, you can say, what they have done, okay, whether they have done right or wrong, to reflect. So if you see, for many of our kind of students, or the system we are in, so simply sitting still and thinking does not come naturally, because it is you're just sitting idle, right? So the power of potential outcome may not be harnessed. So now reflection, if you see, it's an important process by which the knowledge is developed from the experience, because when you reflect that it could have been done in this way, if it could have been done this way, then it could have been the result, right? So reflection is particularly important for the perplexing experiences working under conditions of high uncertainty. And I'm sure you will agree with me that most of the entrepreneurial journeys are always not in the certainty, but they are in the uncertainty. So now let's do another activity. So now this activity is similar to the earlier one. So here, earlier we don't have any money, right? But now here we have, this is called as envelope exercise. So again, same way. So here normally we have the teams, but now let's say every attendee have the 100 rupees. Okay. So now 100 rupees, how you will spend these 100 rupees so that you can enhance your revenue, and you are given normally 2 to 3 hours. You go to the market, you buy something, and then again sell something, like your retailer, like shop owners do, right? So they buy something at some price, let's say 50 rupees. They buy something and they sell something about 70 rupees or so on. So now you have 100 rupees, and let us see in next 4-5 minutes, up to what extent you can enhance your revenue from 100 rupees to how much. And you have to give the brief details that at what price you will buy what and what you will do, whether you will spend in education, whether you will spend in any other buying some product or buying some services and then again selling to something. Your business model can be anything. So let us see. Everybody is having 100 rupees. You have to, whenever you are replying, you have to reply that how you will spend your 100 rupees and what will be the value of it. Not only investing, but after investing, how much you will earn. Okay, so let's do it in next 5 minutes. And let's see who will be the first. So I hope the instructions are clear.
Participants, if instructions are clear, please write yes. Yes, Rahim has responded yes.
Yes, even Namita.
Rita has also responded yes. So all the best. Kindly do this activity fast. Veena, Mohammed, all are written yes.
Okay, great. So 5 minutes. Spend your 100 rupees, get maximum returns, and let's see who is going to do what.
Akshay has also respond yes.
Yes. So I think I have few more slides, but now I think I have 2 more activities. So let's spend some time in activities only. Otherwise, we'll not be able to cover up.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rajesh Bole, for your answer.
Yeah, Rajesh, even.
Rita has responded that invest in share trading. Dr.
Yeah.
Umar Gupta, I will rent a car with the money that I have. I will offer ride to people and generate revenue for the same.
Yeah, but I think my objective was that if you can give me the breakup, 100 rupees, let's say if you are investing in share trading, so what is your expected return? Let's say, if just you can say your imaginative figure.
Veena has written, I will invest 100 rupees in transport facility.
Okay, good. But what is your expected return also? Because 100 rupees you have spent, but whether you are getting 120, 150 rupees in return, or what is your expectation? So how 100 rupees? So let's say if I show you here, let me just. So let's say 100 rupees, let's say 25 or maybe 50 or maybe 25. Let's say this is my purchase.
Yogita has written investing is the best company's share. We'll see the projections. Mohammed is writing minimum returns should by 30% to 35%. Tanima Sharma has written, I will buy popsicle for 2 rupees and sell the same at 5 rupees, making 3 rupees profit. Okay.
Yes, I think that is more meaningful.
Yes.
This is. Yes.
Tanima Sharma has written it rightly. I think this kind of answer is expected. Yes.
Yes.
Mahfouz Ahmed has written in 100, I will buy the food material of 200 based up on my goodwill and will sell in locality with 20%. Great.
Yeah, something logical so that at least I can see, okay, this is what is.
Rahim has written, I will recharge my mobile for internet connection with this 100 rupees and using this online connection, I will provide online tuition and other academic services. Great.
That is,
Very good
yes,
idea.
I think
Yes.
very good idea. I think your reach will be you can say, I think you can reach out to the world.
Yes. Farah has written, I will invest it in scarf business as it comes within rupees 100 and it sell it as rupees 110%. Great, Farah.
Great,
This is also great idea. Surekha has written, invest in transport business. Of course, Surekha,
very
you're
good.
right. Ankita Dalal, I will invest in stock market. Stock market is quite dangerous. Uh,
No, I
not
think,
sure
but
whether you will
those
get the
people
returns
have
or
the
not.
idea.
Yes.
Yes, I think, but those people have the idea. I think
Yes. Great
probably
ideas.
they may be following Rakesh ji, Junjunwala ji. So
Mm-hmm. Great participants. You all are very enthusiastically participating and giving very nice answers. Great show.
so I think I was just sharing here what if I could have been at your place, I could have. I'm going to buy commodities or let's say some FMCG products, and let's say if I am also buying some vegetables, and then I will sell something like maybe let's say 45, let's say and something like that. So maybe here 100 rupees I have spent and I have made 160, something like that. I think most of you have got it right also. I think that much detail. Yes.
Rekha has also written an excellent answer that because she has written that invest in transport business, and now she has elaborated it that because I have seen so much profit in transport if we are linking the charges with fuel charges. So all the participants have great ideas with them.
Absolutely.
The thing is
Okay.
how to implement them properly.
Absolutely. Okay, so now I think there is another model, teaching model framework for entrepreneurship education, but this is little I can say from a research point of view, but I'll not focus here much, but I'll just tell you briefly what it is. So this model by Fallow and Galley, which they have given this model in 2008, and they have actually connected this ontological level to the educational level for entrepreneurship education. They have actually mentioned the 4-5 things. Why? What are the objectives and goals that you want to achieve by it, right? First of all, that should be very clear. And then for which results? Okay, so what are the kind of evaluations and assessments that you want to take in place in this entrepreneurship education that you're thinking about? And then for whom, who are the audiences, right? Or who are the students? If are the normal students, or are these let's say mid-level managers, or maybe family owned business people? Okay, so those who are having the small business enterprises already and they want to, so who are the target audience, or whether these are the let's say now to I hope you are aware about Delhi has started this entrepreneurship education for their school kids, right? So whether it is for the school kids, whether it is for the college going students, and then what are the contents that you are going to bring in, right? So if it is for the high school kids, then the content will be different. If it is for the college going students, then the content obviously will be different. And then at the end, how you are going to deliver it, what are the methods or pedagogies that you are going to adopt. So that this is the teaching model framework for the entrepreneurship education given by Fallow and Galley in 2008. So these are the different definitions that I'll not focus upon here. And this is what we have discussed here now. So wide dimension and this different focus. So I think let us now not focus upon this. This is a little theory. So now another approach. This is another activity,
We
and
move to the next activity, Dr. Sachin.
yes, yes,
Dr. Mahfouz Ahmed is writing that
yes,
thanks for giving this activity. May I know how this activity is useful for a teacher?
yes. So teacher, the earlier activity, right?
Yes, which we have
Yeah,
just conducted.
absolutely. So here actually the envelope activity actually makes teacher to understand first of all the different ideas of the students or the potential of the students, right? That okay, this is the you can say the potential of the students, that and even the teacher may not be aware that okay, this like social media, I think somebody has given the social media idea, or I think some other idea. So now I was not aware. So this is will be useful for me also to understand, because teacher may not be aware about all the things, right? Here teacher acts as a facilitator rather than, you can say, as a you can say subject matter expert in the other courses. But here the most useful for the teacher is that to understand the potential of the different domains. So I think that is one of the important benefit for the teacher, right? Now let's go to the another activity, which is uh, designed for that you can actually use the pictures to identify uh, the potential areas, or to identify the or discover the opportunities or business opportunities. Okay, so through the videos or through the pictures, because I think there is a saying, right, that a picture says a lot more than the words, right? So now I have brought to you few pictures, a group of pictures. So now if you can see these pictures and can identify a business opportunity, or what do you think about these pictures, or what these pictures depict, and if you can identify a business opportunity, or at least understand the concern areas from these pictures. Yes, let us see who has understood these pictures rightly. So what does that come to your mind? Just type in the chat box. Poverty, okay. Will have to start NGO for them. Great. Poverty, yes. Social entrepreneurship, yes. That is the right answer. Good. Working for underprivileged education and their health. Malnutrition, yes. Malnutrition, absolutely. So is there any opportunity, or is there any social entrepreneurship, physically challenged people, disadvantaged people, unavailability of basic needs, exploitation? Absolutely. So lack of medicine facilities, Farah has mentioned.
Medical.
So this can be, yes, very good. I think somebody has mentioned about uh, social entrepreneurship. So yes, Bina is saying that startup should be done for the poor people. Very good. So
Excellent idea.
so I think this is how you can probably use the pictures deficiency, and yeah, so they need to be, or the institution need to be trained so that depicts poverty and unemployment. Yes,
Bhaskar is written, we'll have to start employability training programs for differently abled. Very good.
absolutely, absolutely. So the purpose of showing these images is that how you can actually encourage, or you can say the students, that how to identify the opportunities, because as I said earlier, picture speaks louder than the words. Okay, so let's see now another picture. Yes. So normally we hear the fire, right, in the forest, and you know the forests are the lifeline of oxygen, for oxygen.
Environmental pollution, climate
Yes.
entrepreneurship, forest fire.
Crowdfunding sites like Keto for the previous picture.
Climate
Yes.
entrepreneur is the
Yeah, that is also a very good idea. Like you can actually develop the crowdfunding website.
Saving animals and forest. There should also be an awareness about government schemes to combat such situations. Very good.
Absolutely.
Global warming issues, homeless animals, climate change awareness sites. Excellent.
Yes.
जंगल में आग और बचाव, पेड़ लगाओ. Very good, Varsha. Effect of deforestation, reinforesting.
Reforesting.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So now let's move to the next one. Defining. Okay. So now another picture. What do you think? Yes, agricultural hazards. So we do see the impact of pesticides,
chemical complications. Food sustainability.
Give me a minute. I think light has gone here. Just let me open the window.
Use of more organic fertilizers, promotion of organic farming, food sustainability and food security. Great. Chemical rich food. Great. So excellent ideas have come up from the participants, Dr. Sachin.
Yes, I think good ideas are coming up.
Organic farming is today's special need. Very good. Agriculture and health. हमें अप्राकृतिक खाद और दवाइयों का कम प्रयोग करना चाहिए और खेतों को बचाना चाहिए. Very good, Varsha. Very good.
Absolutely, yes.
Management in agriculture, use technology in farming, which is a very, very need of the hour. That how we can use technology in the farming.
Absolutely.
Pesticides.
Absolutely, yes. That is actually need of the hour, and you can see now there are and it is actually resulting in number of diseases and so on. So I think that is the need of the hour, switching to the organic farming.
Also, water wastage is so much in the agriculture. So how technology is helpful in saving that water. So
absolutely,
all very, very important. That
and these are the growing areas for entrepreneurship.
Yes. Switch to organic farming. Yes. Great.
Okay, so I think we have I do not know we have time for the small activity. We can do it. So another activity, understand the customer activity, which is let's spend another 2 minutes. Somebody has said that ऐसा लग रहा है कि हम कुछ दिनों में शायद कंक्रीट ही खाएंगे.
I think, Dr. Sachin, you can just wind up this activity in a beautiful manner.
Yes.
And we can have 1 or 2 more questions because time is short. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's do that. And now, now do we as a customer, we go to the market, we purchase number of products, and we use on daily basis. So now, what do you think? What are your concerns? Okay, so now you can post it here, and let's now then from those customer concerns, if we can identify any opportunity, because it is very much required first to understand the customer. So I'm sure now let's share my experience. So as a customer, the quality is main concern, but let's be more specific. So now I do face a problem, the mosquito problem. Okay, so mosquitoes are everywhere. So can I have a product which I install in my home and all the mosquitoes are out from my home? There are some products, but still those are not much effective. So have you have any concerns related to that? Maybe any other, let's say, if mothers are there, so then they may be having some problems like the products for the kids, or maybe if you are a user of let's say if I have not shaved today, so I need some product, let if I do something like this and then shave is done.
Dr. Sachin, I'm not clear what you are asking. Can you repeat again?
So as a customer, we are regular purchaser of the products or services regularly. So if you have as a customer any concerns, so then when you will post your concerns about a product or a service, okay, that you think that it should be in this way. So let's say if now I have a concern for, let's say, for cleaning the floor, because now in COVID, what has happened that most of the maids, workers or maids, they were not allowed. So now I was facing a problem that who will clean my floor. So that is a concern as a customer, because I'm taking her services. So now can I have such kind of product or service which can be maybe automatically do, or maybe so some kind of product which is you can say it is not still there in market, but I feel that this kind of product should be there. So maybe let's say
looking for a good robot who can help us in copying everything and doing all kind of work.
Right. So something like that.
Robot should be there. So how we can go ahead with that?
Absolutely. So I think let's skip now this activity. We'll do some other time. And there is another model, FITA model, that we will discuss some other time. So now I think let me just, there is some other approaches that we can have. Here is Shark Tank Fridays. So we have now very successful program, Shark Tank India. I'm sure most of you must be watching on Sony TV. That I think now I do not know if it is on the air, but earlier it was on the air. And annual
exercise there, and it is very popular, and people are watching it on every day. The Shark Tank.
Yes. And so now there is another exercise, get out of the building and talk to the customers, which I was trying to actually do in the last exercise. So you talk to the customers, what kind of concerns they have. So let's say if I am a user of, let's say, water bottle, so what are the concerns I have? There may be some small issues, and then defining the problems exercise, and then blindfold exercise. So blindfold exercise is, let's say, if there is a team, and then each team is asked to visit their library. They are blindfolded. Let's say 5 people or 6 people. They are blindfolded, and they are asked to visit different parts of the institute or college, and then have a coffee in the canteen at the end. And then when they are having the coffee in the canteen, after they have ordered the coffee, then they open the blindfold. So now, what is the purpose of this exercise? Whether they have understood as a team members themselves, because if they will not understand each other, then they will not be able to drive the business together. You're getting it? Because somebody will give the directions. No, library is this side, because they're blindfolded. No, library is this side. So this will actually help them to understand the teamwork. And then 2-minute pitch experience, that if you can encourage the students, let's say if you have to sell this product, or if you have to develop this business, so can you pitch your idea to me? So if I like, or if I can give some feedback. So these are the few approaches that probably can be adopted in our let's say maybe in 1.5 hour session. Let's say if we can spend let's say 15-20 minutes in such activities. So I think that entrepreneurial mindset that can be developed. So I think with this I'm stopping here, and now the time for question and answers.
Dear participants, kindly post your questions if you have any query in your mind related to Dr. Sachin's presentation. Kindly post here.
So I hope you can get the PPT. You can get the PPT.
Yes, we will definitely give you the PPT. That is not the issue. But if you have any queries, any questions in your mind, please do ask here. Otherwise, we will wind up the session. Yes, Tanima, we will give the PPT for all the lectures. Don't worry about that part. But learning should be there. That is our main focus. That is our main aim. Providing PPT is not an issue. Our focus is that you must learn from each and every lecture, and you become more confident after going from here that you have learned so many things. Thank you, Dr. Varsha, for your beautiful comments. बहुत अच्छा and रोचक session रहा. बहुत अच्छी हिंदी लिखती हैं आप.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Dr. Sachin, for sharing your great ideas with us, and for sharing your wonderful presentation. And also your presentation consists of like 4 models, then serious games and simulations, and especially that design-based learning and reflective practices which you have shared. Those were really good. So it was brilliant to listen to your ideas and your watching and looking at your holistic presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Sachin, for being here with me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
dear participants.
Sanjana,
thank you
and
so much
wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Sachin. Thank you so much, thank you so much, dear participants. You all are so active and enthusiastic. We are so happy to have with you. So tomorrow, again, we have session at 2:30. But before that, I would like to tell you that we have made one WhatsApp group. I have sent you the mail twice. Kindly join that WhatsApp group, because through that WhatsApp group, we can interact immediately. That is the fastest way to join. And second, I'm going to share the feedback form with you all. Kindly fill up that feedback form today itself. Thank you and good day. Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you, Major General Professor Praveen Sharma ji, for joining and staying with us. Professor Praveen Sharma, Major General Professor Praveen Sharma sir ji, you want to say something?
think he has left.
He has left. Okay, fine, no problem. So dear participants, I'm just posting this link here. So kindly fill up this link. And please do join this WhatsApp group.
I think they're asking for the link.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to post. I don't know whether, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
3 times it has posted. Okay. Dear participants, by mistake, it has posted 3 times. So just fill up this feedback form. You don't have to send your contact numbers to me. Please look at your email IDs, your emails. I have sent you the mail there, and in that mail, I have sent you the WhatsApp link. So kindly join that WhatsApp link. And this is the feedback link. Please fill up this feedback. I tried that email but can't access. Vinod Kumar, I'm not getting your question, what you are trying to say.
Yeah, I think sometime what happens now, there is, you have to give the access. So you may be getting their reply that Vinod Kumar is trying to access, please give them access. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it happens on the Gmail.
Okay.
That to join the WhatsApp group or
okay,
clicking on this link.
Okay, Vinod, I will just have a look and I will send you separately. Fine.
Okay, so I think now I can leave, right?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sachin. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, dear participants. We look forward to have you tomorrow. Attendance, we have automatically your attendance is with us. Don't worry about that part. Link I have already given up. Kindly submit that link. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.